Is-suġġett tal-lum huwa il-coke.
These aren't dangerous people, these are everyday people. It's something social.
Il-coke fil-belt u barra mill-belt.
So all of a sudden
You could hear the
you can
sniffing, the
hear people
snorting.
sniffing, snorting.
Sniffed the two lines and they left. And this was
U
in front,
dimek diġra.
this is in front of, I don't know how many people. We were about.
In some bars, we saw nothing.
And then he got out his baggie and they were shielding it but showing. And then they were joking around.
These two guys went in together, and all of a sudden you start hearing
As a group.
Fl-istess cubicle jidħlu
So
tnejn jew
you'd say,
tlieta.
oh yeah,
Two or three.
maybe they're gonna go pee together.
Can you explain to us how you got started taking cocaine? Where did it begin?
It sharpens you, it makes you feel more sober. I would say I take twice a week.
ħafna minnhom l-għada jkollhom crash jgħidula, bla saħħa dwejja, etc.
He was so desperate.
To get in.
He was in physical pain.
Taħlita imbarazz, bażikament.
Barazz. Mark, inti wkoll tkellimt ma' xi ħadd li jbieħha.
Yes, Valletta is a coke den. That's exactly what they said.
Jekk ħadd jieħu l-coke. Aħjar tkun pura jew le? Inselmilkom dan huwa Times Talk, il-podcast ġdid, insomma sa madux daqshekk ġdid ta' Times of Malta. Ftit tal-ġranet ilu kellna storja fuq it-Times of Malta li l-headline tagħha kien Valletta is a coke den. U miegħi għandi żewġ ġurnalisti illi ħadmu fuq din l-istorja. Basically ġara kien illi aħna konna qegħdin l-uffiċċju tat-Times kif nagħmlu kull filgħodu niltaqgħu il-ġurnalisti kollha madwar mejda u kulħadd jgħid fuq xiex qed jaħdem. U waqt li qegħdin niddiskutu, kellna dawn iż-żewġ ġurnalisti li qegħdin ma' nallum qalulna aħna konna qegħdin barra ma' sħabna nieħdu drink u bdejna naraw ħafna nies iferfru xi boros tal-cocaine u min jiġbed linja minn hawn, min jiġbed linja minn hemm, jidħlu irġiel flimkien fit-toilet idumu ħafna biex joħorġu. Qalulna ħallikom xi nagħmlu, ħanippruvaw immorru drabi oħrajn. U jekk nerġgħu nosservaw l-istess kull darba mingħajr ma nagħmlu xejn, ġast immorru nieħdu drink u jekk nerġgħu narawha, forsi allura hemm storja. U mortu u dak li osservajtu ktibtuh f'din l-istorja.
Exactly. Yeah.
X'kien hemm?
So I think
ħanamlu ħaġa ċara, ħanitkellmu bl-Ingliż minn issa ma xaħna l-guest tagħna ngħidulhom tkellem biex tħossok komdu. Ġifieri ħankunu qed naqilbu bejn il-Malti u l-Ingliż. Biex ma jittiskandalizzawx ruħkom dawk fostkom illi.
Mela, I think it all started when the idea of let's just go to Valletta and see what it's like on a normal night out. The reason we chose Valletta in particular is because it is more of a new party center on the island. I think if we did the story in Patriville, it wouldn't have been as impressive. I think it's kind of understood to a certain
It's almost like a
extent.
given A that
It is
people
a
are taking
bit.
drugs in Patriville, but what about Valletta?
Għax kien hemm ukoll il-kritika u għalulkom għalfejn il-belt qed tagħmlu isem ikraħ il-belt.
If I can just like interject on that a little bit, I think of it like this. I think drugs go hand in hand with partying. Has no difference where it's going on. Valletta just happens to be the place where this is now common to see.
Ġifieri, it's become a party hub, Valletta,
Yeah.
so
By nature,
By
obviously,
nature,
this
ħadd
is going to go.
iżdied.
So drugs go hand in hand with partying. This isn't necessarily Valletta per se.
ġifieri mhux għax rittu taqbdu mal-belt.
Għaxxej.
No, not at all. I think from what we saw, from what people can read, maybe some people were shocked, and I myself, I received a lot of messages of people saying, oh my God, I can't believe you were interacting with these dangerous people. These aren't dangerous people, these are everyday people just taking a drug almost like it's an energy booster to keep them going through a night. It's something social. And it's becoming more and more of the norm. I think that was the main reason behind why I wrote that story.
Okay, kif qegħdin nitkellmu fuq din, ħamor naraw ftit dan il-video qasir ta' xeqbadna aħna meta morna fil-barijiet. Aħna nosservaw kultant ċelna l-mobile u filmjena daqsxejn x'kienet jiġri. U dan huwa xrajn.
Say was we were queuing up for the bathroom. Somebody looked into his wallet and pulled out a bag to check. I think he was checking how much was left. And I kind of glimpsed it from the corner of my eye. And then there were, I think, two girls in the bathroom. People got impatient. These two guys just got fed up. There was a freezer tucked into the corner of the room. They got their bag out. They drew up two lines with, I don't know, a credit card, I think it was. And they rolled up, I don't know, I don't know what, €5, €10 note, whatever, sniffed the 2 lines and they left. And this was in front, this in front of, I don't know how many people. We were about 5,
Apertament in the bar.
6 people waiting for the bathroom in front of everyone. Again,
Imma l-oħrajn kienu qed jitlu fit-toilet, fil-bathroom.
Yes,
U jidħlu waħedhom kif kienet
no,
tiġri.
sometimes they go on their own, but a lot of the time people were going in groups. Yes,
More than
once,
3.
once I saw 6 people. 6 people
Ġo
go.
cubicle
It
wieħed.
was a bit of a bigger cubicle.
Okay, imma daħlu 6 ġo wieħed.
Yes. And they were discussing it before they went in. They were
What were they discussing?
We were in a queue, and I was with a friend of mine, and she doesn't know Maltese very well, and because she's not Maltese, and somebody was saying, "Kulħat tiġbed, kulħat tiġbed." And then he pointed my friend out. He said, "They had tiġbed zgur." And then he got out his baggie, and they were shielding it, but showing. And then they were joking around, like joke fighting over who's next, you know. And they went in, 6 of them, and I didn't see them.
U kemm idumu?
They take longer. But I don't know, I'm not in there. But this is all.
U meta ħarġu mbagħad tħallt biex tarek ħallew xi ħaġa warajhom fil-bathroom.
If I was in the queue,
Jekk kont fil-queue ġieli tħallt. U ġieli sibt trap abjad.
it doesn't necessarily mean it was from them.
Eżatt,
But-
għandek raġun, eżatt.
That I found in so many bars. In fact, I have a lot of photos of. Yes. Many times. That was. If I ever had a doubt whether or not people were doing cocaine in the bar, that was a confirmation.
They carry it around ġo plastic bag.
In a small plastic bag.
Okay.
A baggie.
U jkun jisu trap jisu terra.
I think from my experience of what we saw is this: in some bars we saw nothing, right?
Yes, I think it's important to say that.
Yeah.
Kien hemm bars fejn ma rajtux
Nothing.
xejn.
As in-
People say it's everywhere. It's not
Not.
literally everywhere. There are some bars
Yeah,
where it's
sure,
more
you do have-
prevalent than others.
Okay.
But I think I can confidently say that it was every other bar in Valletta. I could see
Ġifieri
it.
wieħed iva wieħed le.
What I saw was this. So I was in the line for the bathroom in one of the bars, right? And it was further away from the speakers. So you can hear people talking, you can hear flashing, you can hear any sorts of movements going on, including sniffing. So all of a sudden,
You could hear the
you can
sniffing, the
hear people
snorting.
sniffing, snorting. So all of a sudden, you just
Smajtu inti ġifieri.
yeah, I
b'widnek,
heard
okay.
multiple times. So in one case, I was in a bar and 2 guys went inside the stall. There was another guy behind them waiting outside the stall. These 2 guys went in together, and all of a sudden you start hearing, and goes on a little bit. They come out. They ended up sort of clapping the guy's hands, and they passed on a bag to him, a small baggie, a plastic baggie. And then that guy went in, and he ended up making sniffing sounds as well. Now, I can't say that they took cocaine, but if you're sniffing inside the toilet, one can put 2 and 2 together, and you can assume, you know, you can kind of assume what's going on over there.
And I mean, I saw a bit more of the same what Emma saw, just a lot more. So whereas, just to give people put it into context, this was one evening, and then I went out on another 2 evenings on my own because we didn't have anybody who was willing to come with me, so it was just me lurking through different bars in Valletta, and I hit a lot of the bars in Valletta, so just so people can get a good understanding. It was very, not in all of them, but I saw a lot of the same things Emma was saying. We never used to see, you know, groups of men going into a cubicle all at once, and now all of a sudden there's a huge queue for the men's bathroom, and they're all going in all at once.
Ġifieri jkun hemm queue għal
Not only a queue, but they're going in
flimkien.
as a group.
Fl-istess cubicle jidħlu
So
tnejn
you
jew
say,
tlieta.
oh, yeah,
2 or 3.
maybe they're going to go pee together. It was often to see, you know,
Or
groups
women
of men
together.
entering toilet. Women not as much. I have to say, and I included it in my article. More common amongst young men.
Young shages, timmaġina.
We're talking 20s, 30s. I spoke to some. So some were students. Some who I assumed were on it. Some who were openly talking about it. Daily openly talking about, what do you mean? I used to pass little remarks like, what are people doing in the toilet? You know, what are they doing in there?
Okay, tipprova taqbad
Somebody
konverzazzjoni.
would wink at me. You know, there was an instance where someone winked at me. Somebody was saying, kulħadd qed jiġbed. I mean, which is basically obvious what everybody's doing. Somebody said, ħajġbdu u ħajinqerdu. You know, so it was being openly spoken about. But
U dawn x'tib ta' nies ikunu ġifieri junkies kif ġieli
No,
Not in
no.
the slightest. This looks like anyone you would see on the street. If you're walking down Republic Street, you would never
Nis-
recognize who they are. You would
nis
never
normali.
assume. Totally normal.
Mhumiex il-junkies li nifhmu aħna.
These are not junkies at all.
a lot of people are taking it. And they take it, it's like I said at the beginning, it's a social thing.
What do you mean? Tista' telabora ftit iktar fuq a social
Sure.
thing għalfejn joħduha dawn.
So after Mark asked me that question, we thought it would be a good idea to speak to someone we already spoke to explain what it's like to be on cocaine in their own voice in a bit more detail. Can you explain to us how you got started taking cocaine? Where did it begin? And how did you get into it?
So, I believe I was given my first line of cocaine by a friend. It was, I think, cocaine sort of spreads in a pretty organic way. It was a while ago, and I'll be honest, I don't really remember the situation of my first time on cocaine. I remember thinking it smelled like a chemical product, smelled like an industrial product. And for the why, at first it was curiosity. Now there's a sense of practicality with it, in the sense of it sharpens you. It makes you feel more sober. I think that different people feel different things, but it helps you keep going. It's like a sort of a support for benders.
How do you get it? Where does it come from? Are you getting this from a friend? Are you getting this from Telegram? Are you getting it through a dealer?
I think different people have different ways of acquiring cocaine. I know some people who only ever ask their friends to get them. And there's some people who have like personal relationships with their dealers. And there's some people who use WhatsApp groups. It's a pretty varied thing. And depending on how much the dealer likes you, I would say retail price is about 100 for a gram, and 80 is like a good price for a gram.
What do you feel like on it? What's it like to actually be on cocaine?
It doesn't make me feel like particularly energized or like rabid or manic. It mostly just centers me, and it sharpens me, it gets me together, it sobers me up. Like, stuff like that.
Is it normal in your friends group to take cocaine? Is it normal in general? Like, are you an outlier in this? Or is it just become something somewhat regular for you?
I would say I take about twice a week. Less. Like 6 times a month. It is quite normalized, and it is quite regular. I don't think I fall on the extreme end, where I don't know anyone who does it daily, or I would say more frequently than 3 times a week. But yeah, I also have social circles where it's not very normalized, where they're sort of aware of it, but they just don't do it.
Since you started, are there more people taking cocaine than when you began? Have you noticed any shifting tides?
I think it's a sort of human thing of like when I started using it, I started noticing more people using it. So I don't know if more people have used it since I started, or if I can just recognize them more easily.
Ma nissa għandna lill-psikjatra u professur Anton Grek biex nitkellmu fuq da suġġett flimkien ma' Dr. Godwin Samut li huwa Forensic Lab Scientist. Li huwa Forensic Lab Scientist. Ħalibda qisu minn reaction ġenerali.
Ninkwieta ħafna. In a way ma kellix għalfen nisma' din l-istorja mhux biex innaqqasha, għax sfortunatament minn xogħli nara ħafna konsegwenzi negattivi tal-użu tal-cocaine. Sfortunatament il-coke tagħmel ħafna ħsara u sfortunatament mad-dinja kollha inkluża Malta l-użu tagħha żdied u żdied mhux ħażin.
U x'inhu ma l-effetti li tara ġifieri?
Mela, inti meta xi ħadd ikun juża l-coke, isek l-effetti huma immedjati u dawk li huma long term. Ġifieri. Issa, immedjati meta wieħed qiegħed taħt l-effett tal-coke, hemm element ta' pjaċir għalek ovvjament jużawh, ikollha dik li ngħidula euforja. Però barrek wieħed jista' jkun irritabbli ħafna, nervuż.
Waqt li qed jużaw.
Bl-effett tagħha immedjatament tkun ġelliet iktar, inqas kontroll fuq hekk innifsek. U hemm numru ta' nies, mhux kulħadd, numru ta' nies taqbadhom dik li jgħidula paranoja. Paranoja hija li tinqata' mir-realtà. Tibda tisma' xi vuċijiet. Jekk pereżempju xi ħadd ħares lejk, int tkun għaddej fit-triq tgħid ħares lejja, kien miexi ħares lejja. Jekk xi ħadd ħares lejk f'dak l-effett taħseb li qed ħares lejk pereżempju biex jiġi jagħtik xi xeba. Għalhekk jaqala ħafna nkwiet. Però mbagħad li jinkwetana ħafna wkoll dak li julu long term effect. L-ewwel nett tista' twassal għal depression. Ġi nara ħafna nies id-depression li jkollhom ċert li tkun ġejja mill-użu fit-tul tal-cocaine. Inti meta xi ħadd ħal-cocaine għandna ċertu chemicals ġoċ-ċelloli, ġo-nervaturi li jiġu released ħafna. U dawn jagħtuk feel good factor. Allura inti dak il ħadd għasek tajjeb ħafna. Però l-għada il-moħħ jkollu naqqas kbir minnhom. Ġir min juża l-cocaine jgħidulek ħafna minnhom l-għada jkollhom crash jgħidula, bla saħħa, dwejja, etc. Kiddhom tagħmilha fit-tul din tista' twaslek għal depression. U riċerka pereżempju turi l-riskju ta' suwiċidju min juża l-cocaine fit-tul u iktar minn ħaddieħor. Tista' twassal għal psikożi li hija kondizzjoni li tiġbaħ l-iskizofrenija, tisma' l-vuċijiet, jaqbduk delusions, etc. U tista' twassal ukoll dawk li ngħidulhom cognitive problems. Problemi ta' concentration, memory, etc. li waslu qisek għandek demenzja. Però barrek imbagħad long term effect dak li jkun ħajtu tiġi kaotik ħafna. Jiġifieri ir-ritmu tal-ħajja tal-cocaine tarbatulek. Kos, jiġifieri nies daqqa marru għax-xogħol, daqqa ma marrux, illum miġġielet mal-mara, dinti jorrajt magħha, illi hemm konfużjoni fil-ħajja. Issa min jgħidlek, orrajt, imma jien nuża ftit u ma tagħmilx hekk. Dan bħall-alkoħol hawn min jirnexxielu ħadd ma jista' jgħid li alkoħol ma jagħmilx ħsara, min jirnexxielu juża ftit u jieqaf. Wow, min għal ħafna raġunijiet li jistgħu jkunu ġenetiċi, kif twilet, l-ambjent, kif trabbejt, minnu għandu riskju iktar ma' ħadd li jiġi addict. U addict ifisser ma tgħaddix mingħajrha. Kelli klijenti għandi ġiri tiġihom aktar minn 10,000 euro f'weekend. Immaġina biex to sustain such a habit.
Imma jekk qed toħodha fil-weekend biss.
Min jirnexxielu juża ftit mingħajr ma jgħaddi għal kategoriji l-oħra. Pero jien nagħti parir li l-ħadd ma joqgħod f'dak l-istadju, għax inti qed iżżid ħafna r-riskju tiegħek li jien naf pereżempju mietlek il-kelb u għaddej minn żmien ħażin. Jekk inti tieħu l-coke ftit, iża ħafna f'dak iż-żmien imbagħad tmurlek out of control. U rajt ħafna klijenti li ġralhom hekk li wara snin jużaw ftit l-ewwel hemm inqalgħu ċirkostanzi li maħabba fihom il-kontroll tilfu. Għax għandek tpoġġi lilek f'dik il-pożizzjoni.
Do you think they think about it as if it were, ma nafx, a pint of beer, jew a cigarette?
I do think there's a sense of casualness that comes with it.
It was so casual and
that's how it
normal
feels.
that amongst certain groups of people it felt like that. Like, sorry, I cut you off. Like in the past, maybe not as much today, but still today, we share cigarettes, we share a baggie, but not as open. No.
Okay, yes, more
the
subtle.
difference is you're going to go smoke that cigarette in a bathroom.
But it's everybody knows it's happening. In the bar, depending on the bar.
It's the real definition of an open secret.
It's an open secret.
Everybody knows, but nobody's
talks,
talking about.
And people will wink, and people will pass certain
you saw
comments.
People wink?
Yes, I spoke
pass
to
comments.
People would pass comments like, oh, ti għamlu l-koko, jew
These sarcastic comments, mhux ovvju.
Or somebody would wink, or somebody would tell me, oh, id-dum xem ġew da, and would wink at me. Stuff like this. nobody saying he's doing cocaine in there. No. It's just,
And did it feel like some of them were really anxious to get in?
yes.
Yes, and how prevalent was that feeling ta' ejja, jisni ma nistax nissapporti.
I mean, there's also the sort of thing, to be totally fair, when you're waiting in the bathroom and you need to go pretty bad, you're going to start tapping your foot,
But
right?
that's the feeling.
But it's the sort of
No,
thing, there's
it's
an
worse.
anticipation that like, I want to get in. You do feel a sense of
It's worse,
anticipation.
yeah.
But it's more.
There were 2 cases. One of quite an older guy. I don't know how old he was, maybe 40s, 50s. He was so desperate.
To get in.
He was in physical pain. Like it was like he couldn't take it anymore. And then he got in, he came out. Għallewi sibi. Ek għalli.
Ek għallek.
Għallewi sibi għalli. And then there was another case of a younger guy. And that this guy was the same. He was kind of bent over, double, like, you know. He was coming down off the drug and he needed a boost. And they were taking long in the bathroom.
What
And
do you
he
mean
had
bent
skipped
over,
the queue,
double?
bent over.
Mawwiċ.
He was bent like this in pain, he saw, you know. It was obvious that, you know, and then he came out, he was fresh as a daisy. There is for the most part, I'm so sorry, but I
No,
just
it's
say
fine,
this,
it's fine.
for the most part, people seemed to be having a good time and they weren't causing any trouble. But then you saw these instances. That's the danger of the drug, you know? I mean, there is a real addiction behind it if you abuse it. And that was definitely there as well. It wasn't all fun and games, definitely not at all.
Dr. Samut.
Ovvjament ħan nitkellem fuq li naraw fil-laboratorju. Tibda tinnota żidiet ta' analiżi fejn jidħlu l-kokaina li anka din tirrifletti wkoll fuq ċertu mwiet. Qabel ma tantx konna naraw ngħid jien mill-esperjenza fil-laboratorju qabel ma tantx konna naraw dan il-pattern, qabel anka qisha l-coke ma tantx kienet one of the top drugs. Jisa kellek l-eroina, mbagħad il-coke, issa jisu hemm shift ta' pattern, jisa għandek il-coke.
Ġifieri intom fil-laboratorju jidħlu pereżempju il-qabdiet ta' droga li għamlu l-pulizija.
Iva.
Il-pulizija jiġu b'dak li jaqbdu u jgħidulkom iċċekkjawna da x'inhu. U qed taraw illi qed ikun hemm aktar kokaina milli kien ikun hemm qabel.
Jien minħat ta' laboratorju ġifieri
Iva.
dejta ħarġet iva. Li qed naraw ukoll it-taħlit qed tkun iktar pura. Qed ikun hemm ċertu taħlit li qabel ma konniex naraw, dejjem insemmi u kien issemma wkoll fl-artiklu il-levamisol li huwa sustanza mediċinali li qed titħallat mal-cocaine biex tkun tidher iktar pura, għax tagħmilha tidher iktar pura. U ovvjament iktar ma jkollok dak taħlit huwa aktar perikolus fuq l-użu meta jużaw il-kokaina.
Għalfejn aktar perikolus?
Għax ovvjament il-levamisol għandu ċertu side effects fuq il-moħħ u kemm fuq il-qalb. Il-cocaine diġà qed tilab mal-qalb, jiġifieri għandek dawk il-combined effects.
Tista' twassal għal heart attack, ġifieri.
Kif tista' twassal?
Ġifieri inti
Anka f'min joħodha ftit.
Mela, inti mhux kulħadd għandu l-istess riskju fid-dinja, anke għal mar tal-qalb. Ġifieri min, pereżempju, jekk għandek familja ta' heart attacks fil-familja. Jekk tbati bi pressjoni għolja, jekk għandek kolesterol, aktar ma għandek riski, aktar għandek ċans li l-cocaine hija riskju jħolli żejt. Ma naraw, ġifieri n-nies jitlu l-isptar għabadhom stroke waqt l-effett tal-kokaina jew heart attack, ġifieri. Mhux għax tgħid qed nieħu ftit jew qed nieħu ħafna, skont int ir-riskji tiegħek u kemm hija pura u x'fija l-cocaine. Ma tistax tagħmel general sweeping statement għal kulħadd.
Fejn qabel forsi fit-triq konna naraw 18%, jiġifieri li l-ammont tal-kokaina fit-trap hija 18%.
Inti kollok borza trap u 18% tagħha tkun coke biss.
Coke,
L-oħra xi tkun?
Taħlita imbarazz bażikament.
Imbarazz.
Bażikament inti għandek hemm min jitfa' li mhux perikoluż imma hemm min jitfalek it-trap tal-ħalib, it-trap tat-sukkor biex iżid il-pis, imma mbagħad għandek b'eżempju nsibu l-lidocaine fil-kokaina li hija anesthetic, local anesthetic ukoll.
L-opju.
L-opju, jiġifieri għax ankuma meta jippruvawha fit-triq ibillu subajhom u jagħmluha fuq xuftejem jew il-sienhom biex jaraw in-numbing effect.
Biex jarak
U iktar ma torqod, iktar turi li dak it-trap huwa pur. Ovvjament il-lidocaine qed jagħmel l-istess ħaġa għax il-lidocaine hija isa l-injection li nieħdu meta morru għand id-dentist. Qed tagħmel dak il-numbing effect. Allura dak li jkun jaħseb li qed jieħu droga iktar pura imma ma tkunx.
Mark, inti wkoll tkellimt ma' xi ħadd li jbieħha.
Yes, I did. Very tight-lipped they were. And I asked them, we're hearing all about Valletta and cocaine, like what's going on? And they said, yes, definitely. Valletta is a coke then. That's exactly what they said. And that was the headline. And then
U dawn ibiħuha dil-persuna tbieħha.
Yes.
Tbieħ il-kok.
And what was interesting was they said it's popular. It's as popular as it is on Monday as it is on Saturday. So people
every day. There's no.
It doesn't mean that they're doing it
it.
every day, but they're buying it every day.
Yes, okay. So it's as popular on Monday. So it's not a weekend thing.
No, but this person's, and it's their bestseller.
Coke.
Yes.
Coke is their bestseller.
Weed is the most popular drug globally, but I guess for this seller it's Coke. That's what they told me. And when I asked what type of people are taking this drug, what type of people? Normal people. I said,
Normal what kind of
what?
normal?
I mean, we're talking businessmen, students. I mean, who's taking it? Junkies? No, they couldn't give me an answer. It was.
It doesn't matter what you do in life.
No, he couldn't give me an answer. It was from people from. It's all socioeconomic backgrounds. Okay, it's just that if you earn more money, you buy more. That was the only difference.
That's the difference.
That was the only difference. But he was certain that he was saying that everybody was taking it, and Coke wasn't always his bestseller. Recently, it became his bestseller. There was a boom. He said there was a boom.
Recently, like how many years
ago? He wouldn't
ago?
tell me. He was very tight-lipped. He wouldn't tell me. But he said there was a change.
Jgħidulek imma u min jgħidlek isma' ma jiena noħodha ftit kemm inkun nista' nipperformja fuq ix-xogħol pereżempju. Tismaħħa ħafna din.
Nismaħu nara ħafna jiena jekk xi ħadd għandu bżonn il-kok biex jista' jipperformi għandu problema. Jew il-kwalità tax-xogħol id-demands qed ikunu żejjed jew mhumiex kapaċi għal dak ix-xogħol.
M'għandux ikun qed jaħdem dawk is-sija kollha in the first place.
Qed ngħid, jiġifieri.
Jekk ħadd jieħu l-kok, aħjar tkun pura jew le?
Ħajr ma tieħu xejn.
Ħajr ma tieħu xejn, naf imma x'inhu l-iktar perikoluż?
It-tnejn huma perikolużi għax jekk għandek da żmien tant qed tinbidel is-sitwazzjoni tad-droga li anke taħaltu synthetics mal-coke, jiġifieri inti tista' jkollok ftit coke tgħid hija mhux pura, imma mbagħad għandek synthetic li ħatoqtlok xorta. Jiġi bażikament
meta toqtlok ġifieri tista' toqtlok.
Jekk qed tieħu ċertu synthetic li huma perikolużi immens iva.
Synthetics inġi li rajt klijenti pereżempju li b'synthetic b'darba qabdithom rina l-failures waqfu jaħdmu l-kliwi.
B'darba.
Darba. Jew qabadhom stroke għax l-aktar li nara effetti fuq il-brain. B'darba.
U di tkun għax tkun imħalta mal-coke.
Tkun imħalta kif qal, din rex ir-roulette.
Dr. Samut, intom ukoll tagħmlu testijiet fuq id-demmet li ġa jkunu testijiet fuq toxicology, nies li jkunu mietu dawn.
Iva, ovvjament hemm proċess ġifieri issir l-autopsja minnaħa tal-patoloġisti, mbagħad aħna niċċekkjaw jekk m'hemmx preżenza ta' xi tip ta' sustanza. Issa again li rajna aħna u li hija inkwetanti għax tibda tarejna f'każ wara każ hemm il-preżenza tal-kokaina.
F'nies li jkunu mietu.
Issa ovvjament mhux ħafna, le mhux ħafna, imma għalina huwa ħafna anke wieħed fis-sens meta tibda tara wieħed u mbagħad xahar ieħor
qablu ma' żmien.
Kien hemm rise.
Qed jiżdiedu.
Iva. Biss fit-2023 il-Malta National Report ħareġ li kien hemm 13 minn 18.
Illi kellhom ġo sistema kellhom il-kokaina. Issa dan ma bil-forsi jkunu mietu bil-kok jew.
Le, imma l-fatt li inti għandek il-preżenza tal-kokaina mhix normali, ġifieri jista' jkun kontribuzzjoni.
Eżatt, se taffettwat.
U il-patoloġisti jagħmlu x-xogħol tagħhom fejn jikkonkludu li dan se tagħmel bil-battaħ tal-qalb, ġifieri dik imbagħad tagħmel 1+1 jekk ma kienux relatati jew le. Imma il-fatt li għandek kokaina fil-dem mhijiex normali u li rajna wkoll li tinkwetana huwa il-preżenza tad-dem f'ċertu nies li ikun hemm bżonn ta' testing waqt li jkun qed isuqu. Kif semma l-prof.
Preżenza l-kokaina.
Iva.
Kif arġa spiega.
Ikun hemm accident tal-karozza u l-inkjesta tkun li ikun hemm bżonn ta' analiżi tad-dem tan-nies li kienu fil-karozza u insibu l-preżenza tal-kokaina.
Jiġifieri il-prevalenza tagħha qed tiżdied kemm f'dawk il-mejtin u kemm f'dawk li kellhom accident.
Iva, jiena li inkwetanti.
Jiena għandi ftit ta' dilemma fis-sens illi aħna fil-medja għamilni ħafna drabi li jedna lin-nies. Isma' tieħu xi droga, x'jekk tieħu droga tista' ssir addict, u jekk issir addict, once an addict always an addict, probabbilment se tmut bija. U forsi x'għamilna kultant ninkwita u illi ma tajniex biżejjed każ ta' dawn in-nies illi qed joħdu ftit dal qed nitkellmu fuqhom u illi apparentament minn barra jew għalissa jidher li mhix qed taffettwhom, jew mhix qed taffettwhom ħażin. U allura nibda ngħid jista' jkun li dawk iż-żgħażagħ li l-iskola it-tfal li l-iskola qednielhom u fuq il-medja raw tmissiex għax ħassir edikt. Jaraw il xi ħadd li messa u għaddej jisu normali. U jgħidu, wara kol dik id-ba kienet mhux vera, mhux bil-forsi ssir dik tara dak joħodha qiegħed, dak għadu kif ħabonus tad-doluri fuq ix-xogħol għax ipperformi ħafna ħjar, jiena naf il xi ħadd għalli ma nistax nikkompeti ma' sħabi tax-xogħol, għalli għaliex dawn il-ġimgħa hekk jibdew għalli fil-meeting ta' filgħodu ta' x'qas inkun naf sa naqbad ngħid ħdejhom għax dawn jiġu b'kull idea ibelħu kull mem. U nibda ngħid forsi dawn iż-żgħażagħ l-istudenti jkunu qed jaraw dawn in-nies jaħduha ftit fil-weekend qed taħdem għalihom jew it seems li qed taħdem għalihom. U jgħidu mela m'hemmx issue għax dan mhux kif kienu jgħidulna qabel illi kull min imissa jsir addiktu jmut ma' ġemp ta' xi kantuniera.
Mela, mhux kull min imiss id-droga ħajsir addict, u mhux kull min hu addict ħajmut. U rridu nkunu realistiċi. Però ma jfissirx li għandna ngħidu li id-droga tajba. Illum ħadd ma jinnega li t-tepjib tat-tabak u s-sigaretti jġibu l-kanser. Ħadd ma jinnega. Alla ħares kull min ipejjeb jaqbdu kanser. Allura aħna il-messaġġ tagħna dejjem kien u għadu tpejjibx għax qed iżid ir-riskju li jaqbdek kanser. U għall-grazzja talla ir-rata tat-tepjib tas-sigaretti f'pajjiżna naqas. Ħalla xi effett. Jien nemmen li fid-droga l-istess. Rridu nkunu realistiċi, ma rridux ngħidu kull min mess ftit droga ħajsir addict jew ħajmut, però kull min imiss ftit droga qed iżid ir-riskju kbir li xi darba jista' jsir addict jista' jkollok konsegwenzi koroħ. L-effetti kif tista' tħarbat totalment familja. U hemm min ħansemmi hemm min pereżempju l-ADHD. Hawn min għandu l-ADHD jekk tieħu coke ħatejnek tikkonċentra. Imma kemm huwa aħjar tieħu l-kura veru b'dożi propja u taf li l-effett ħajkun ħafna aħjar. Ġifieri dan is-self-treatment għax hawn min juża d-droga bħala self-treatment. Ikollu sitwazzjoni jew kondizzjoni u b'effett ta' droga jħossu ftit aħjar. Imma long-term effects huma ħafna u hemm kura tajba ħafna alternattiva li wieħed jista' jieħu. Nafu li min ikollu l-ADHD doża baxxata coke ħatejnu.
Imma mhux worth it in the long run.
U jekk m'hemm xkura ħsib wara la hemm kura tajba.
Hemm xi ħaġa li tixtiequ tgħidu li m'għedniex li suppost saqsejtkom u forsi qbista.
Le, jien l-appell li nagħmel liż-żgħażagħ li l-ħajja sabiħa u m'għandek bżonn sustanzi biex iżomma sabiħa. Is-sustanzi short term jagħmluk aħjar, veru, jiġu ma nistgħux ninnegawha li short term ħatħossok aħjar. Però mhux worth it tal-problemi long term li jistgħu jaqalgħu. L-isfortunatament jien minn xogħol niltaqa' ħafna magħhom u ninkett nara dawn il-ħajjiet distrutti jekk għal xejn meta tant kien hemm potenzjal fihom.
U kien hemm drabi fejn tħaltu għax jista' jkun li inti tħall ġobar u llum inserta kien hemm il-coke. Provajtu titlu ġol istess bar darba oħra.
Yes.
So you tried the same bars multiple times.
Yes.
And it happened every time. So it's not a one night.
Particular bars, there was coke every time I went in. Others, maybe it wasn't there, so
Okay,
depends.
okay.
I think we have to be careful to say it's everywhere or it's not in every bar, it's not everywhere, and it's here and there, but it's definitely prevalent.
Imma certainly it's mifruxa sew.
Yes.
Can I add something? A bit of maybe why we wanted to do this?
Yes,
Because
of
a lot of
course.
people are going to think, Lado, they have no idea how to have fun. They have no idea how to enjoy a Friday night out in Valletta.
I questioned it when I went
Yeah.
2 nights out on my own. I was so bored.
But it's the sort of thing where it just felt like a really obvious but unspoken thing. That was the reason behind it. That in and of
So
itself.
everyone knows, and we got a lot of comments
Yeah.
like, "Oh, what's the story? Nothing new." For some it was new, but for others it wasn't. But
Exactly.
we put it out there. I feel like I thought it was important to do that.
I mean, you way more so than I did for obvious reasons. But it was the sort of thing where I feel like it's been discussed again and again and again. And everyone would say, hey, listen, cocaine is everywhere sort of thing. But in reality, no one went, no one documented it, nobody really went into it in depth. So it just felt like we were looking at something which has been there this whole time. Maybe that's why it's a bit not so surprising to us ultimately. But it's fascinating how common.
U taħsbu li l-owners tal-barijiet they are in on it fis-sens li they are in some way
I don't want to
organizing
say
it.
that. I don't know. I have no idea.
Imma it doesn't look like, mill-qed jgħidu li doesn't look like l-owners huma.
They probably know it's happening. No, I'm sure they know it's happening. But I'm not saying that they're in on it.
Eżatt, so people from the outside come with coke. In-nies jiġu minn barra bil-coke,
As far
jużaw
as I know,
fil-bar,
that's how it seems. Like
imma
it
mhux
is.
tinxtara mill-bar jew
No,
hekk pereżempju.
it could be, Mark.
It
I
could
don't
be.
know.
We don't know.
And I don't want to say saying that.
No,
you know?
coke kien ma qed nistaqsi dal-mistoqsijiet mhux biex tgħidu li iva jew le.
Yes.
Biex femm ma nafux li n-nies ngħidulhom ma nafux.
We don't know.
Yes.
Aħna m'għandniex ġast għax rajna n-nies joħduha fil-bar, ma jfissirx li xtrawha mill-bar jew li qed imexxija
no,
tal-bar
not
jew
at
li
all,
qed
not at all,
jorganizza
not at all.
tal-bar biex nagħmlu
I didn't get that feeling.
Minn fejn ġejja di ma nafux.
No.
Li nafu li qiegħda hemm. Mark, Emma, titgħid xi ħaġa?
No, just a reminder that, yeah, Valletta might be the most popular place right now, but ultimately just follows the party. So if the party
Yes,
is
follows
yes,
the
strict,
party.
yes,
So
yes.
mhux għax
So,
Valletta.
no, it's not.
no,
It's
no.
Valletta. It's party.
wherever the party is.
I think so.
And right
yes,
now,
yes,
if
yes.
you are if this is the most popular place, obviously by nature, it's going to be a very popular place where
I'm
you're going
sure
to
if
find
we went to
cocaine.
any other party place, would see the same thing. For sure.
Mark, thank you ħafna. Emma, thank you ħafna. Iridu ngħidu grazzi lil The Pub li laqgħuna hawnhekk biex niffilmjaw li huwa bar fil-belt, però mhuwiex wieħed minnhom. Qed nagħmlu ċara li minkejja li qegħdin hawnhekk qed nagħmlu hawnhekk għall-atmosfera, mhux għax dan għandu x'jaqsam, anzi meta qed tuli id-drabi li tħaltu hawn qatt ma rajtu xejn. Dak wieħed mill-bars fejn ma rajtu xejn.
That's true.
Biex nagħmlu ċara, ma nirringrazzjawhom tal-li offrewna l-ispazju, xtaqna niġġewha li jkun fl-ambjent, fl-atmosfera tal-ispazju u anke għaliex għadna qed nibnu l-istudju biex ngħidu kollox. Allura ma kellniex fejn ora kull episode irdu nsibu post differenti fejn nibnuh. Speaking of episodes, infakarkom biex tibqgħu taraw l-episodes kollha, daw jekk joġobkom dan, forsi joġobkom taqablu meta tħallna fil-ħabs, forsi joġobkom taqablu meta intervistajna Liam Borsch fuq ħafna affarijiet turizmu, Trump u foreign affairs related, forsi joġobkom taqablu li kien dibattitu bejn Jason Azzoparti u Jason McAuliffe, forsi joġobkom taqablu li kien fuq Jorgen Fenek ħireġ mill-ħabs u forsi joġobkom l-ewwel wieħed taqablu li kien dokumentarju qasir dwar it-traġedja, waħda mill-ikbar traġedji fuq il-post tax-xogħol f'Malta. Dawn l-episodji kollha u li ġejjin tistgħu sibhom fuq il-YouTube channel tagħna ta' Times of Malta fuq il-website timesofmalta.com. U wherever you get your podcasts, ġifieri Spotify, Apple Podcasts u dawn il-postijiet kollha.